The senator from Lynchburg, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I rise on a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I rarely speak on a point of personal privilege, but the item that brings me to my feet today is one that I am quite passionate about, and some of you have heard me discuss it. It relates to the DOJ report, and in particular, how it relates to Central Virginia Training Center, the parents and the families that are at that location. Mr. President, I've spent over 20 years going back and forth, visiting at that facility. It is never an easy visit. If you've ever been to that facility, you probably know that it houses some of our most severely handicapped individuals. Many of these individuals cannot walk, talk, communicate. Many are bedridden. Mr. President, in my view, even though some of you know me somewhat as a more conservative senator, I believe this strongly, that God had me here to take care of people who cannot take care of themselves. And these people meet that requirement. And whether it be churches or synagogues, society or government, we certainly have a responsibility here. If ever there were a group that were least among us, Mr. President, I would say it would be them. A brief history of CVTC. Many of you have been there and know that it was the old colony. 4,000 people at one time was on the top of that hill. It is a roving campus that overlooks the James River, invaluable land in many ways. It overlooks portions of the city of Lynchburg. During my time here, Mr. President, I've seen it go from about 1,100 people down to currently just about 400. Mr. President, there is much to be learned from the report that we received from DOJ. And I would like to talk to you about a couple of them. But one thing I want to make sure it's very clear. No one on the other side of the Potomac loves the people at that facility any more than we do, any more than we have. Mr. President, during my times that I go there, often you will know that your senses will be overcome, your eyes, your ears, your nose, with unusual items. And I know how DOJ would go in and see that. Your eyes see the most severely retarded individuals in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Many of them are bedridden. Unusual odors, and your ears will hear sounds from humans that are a little unusual, but you will also see in their eyes the love they have for the caregivers that are giving them their support. I would tell you that those people that are left after coming from 4,000, 1,100 to 400 are the most fragile individuals in our care, period. I know many of you will agree with me that Olmsted has had many successes, many positive outcomes. Many of those, or most of those that have come out of institutions, can live in a community. However, the experiments of pulling out the most severely handicapped individuals has not come with that same success. Reading the report, there are many items that are of concern to many of us and honestly to the families, and if you have not heard from them, I promise you, you will. Let me say this though, you won't hear from a lobbyist. There'll be no campaign donations. There'll be no force that will come in on their behalf. This General Assembly, this administration will make decisions on their future that is based completely on the love of those individuals. I've struggled with a number of things that I've read in there which I think really go beyond what the ADA and Homestead really was all about. In particular, a quote from the group where it says, reliance on unnecessary and expensive institutional care both violate the rights of people with disabilities and incur unnecessary expenses. Mr. President, reading on, you will find that they state in there that the average cost for institutionalization at CVTC is about $194,000. The average waiver is only $76,000. And Virginia certainly can serve 3 individuals if they move them from that facility. Not true. Mr. President, the people that are in that facility are not like a lot of that have left that facility. The cost in an individual home for a near hospital-like setting is going to be extraordinary, and Georgia is about to find out. Mr. President, make no mistake about it, DOJ will eventually force us to close the facility. The same basic report came to Georgia. The requirement was closure. You'll see bills that'll come through soon that set us on the path, and I understand it. But Mr. President, my message really to the body is Olmsted works for many. However, parents have come forward united on one thing, and that is that parents love these children as much as the federal government does. And parents have asked us, and they will be asking you individually, to please make sure that they have a choice. I go visit people who have been there for 30 years or 40 years. The amount of concern from the parents about moving the children, the potential, in their opinion, for death is severe. The issues related to these individuals is complex. Most parents believe that in 20 years, the fad will have come and gone for the most severely retarded in the Commonwealth, and there will be a desire then to put them back together, stating at that point, you cannot have all these healthcare issues addressed in such a diverse setting. You have to have hospital settings. You have to have dental settings. You have to have so many other items that they're providing today. Mr. President, I have urged the administration, I would urge the Senate, certainly those that are going to be on the money committees, to do what you need to do, correct some of the problems, but when possible, listen to the parents, listen to the caregivers, and allow, Mr. President, for choice. Virginia loved these people before it was in vogue nationwide to love people with severe disabilities. It's a proud tradition. And I would hope that the parents of these individuals would have that choice moving forward. Mr. President, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. The senator from Richmond City, Senator Marsh.